grab your ball, please. Your soft Pilates ball, that is. And then let's start standing. And just to start off with, place the feet hip width distance apart. And just find your feet. Lift your toes up and then place them back down. Lift your toes up, place them back down. Lift your toes up, place them back down. Draw the fingertips up the wall and draw the fingertips down the wall, nose to chest. Slide the rib cage towards the navel and then soften down into the first forward bend. Move your arms, sort of just turn them one way and t'other. Just let your head hang. And then press into the feet, curl up from the front of the spine up to standing. Draw the fingertips up the wall. And draw the fingertips down the wall, nose to chest. Slide the rib cage towards the navel. Drop the arm bones down. And then again move the arms back and forth. Spiraling one way, spiraling the other. And then just let them hang. Bend the knees, bring the body to the thighs. Lengthen the legs. Bend the knees, body to the thighs. Lengthen the legs. Bend the knees, body to the thighs, lengthen the legs. Bend the knees, now we draw the fingertips up the wall, turning the rib cage, turning the pelvis away from the backs of the legs. Sink down. Drop down with the hands and the knees, lengthen the legs. Bend the knees again, lengthen the legs. And bend the knees again, lengthen the legs. Bend the knees, draw the fingertips up the wall. And drop down, lengthen the legs one more time. Bend the knees, lengthen the legs. Bend the knees, lengthen the legs. Bend the knees, widen the pelvis, draw the hands up the wall. And then come up to standing. Open the arms out wide to the side and down towards the pelvis. Turn the rib cage around, wrap your hands around the opposite side and encourage that rotation of the rib cage. Draw your hands around to the opposite side. Again, encourage rotation. And again, I'm going to do that 2 more on each side. Just keep your feet forwards. Yeah. And then turning around. So you're just rotating the rib cage, aiming to also keep the pelvis as forward facing as possible, rather than we're going into the hips, into the knees. So sort of maybe bring your rib cage, just encourage it a little bit closer to you, your hand. And then drop the arms down, nose to chest, slide down. Walk out into a plank, lengthen the legs out. And draw up into a downward dog. Bend the knees, uncurl your back, send your head and your neck through your shoulders and lengthen away. Bend the knees, slide your bottom up towards the ceiling, into a downward dog. Bend the knees and slide through again. Bend the knees again, slide the bottom up the wall into downward dog. Bend the knees, come through. Hold here for 5, for 4, for 3, for 2, for 1. And up we go. Bend the knees down again and through into the plank. Here what I'd like you to do is I'd like you to just tap your shoulder up with one arm, then the other arm. One arm, the other arm. One arm, the other arm, and send yourself up towards the downward dog. Bend the knees, head comes through the shoulders, shoulder tap, opposite shoulder tap, good, shoulder tap, and up we go. Downward dog. Maybe rise onto your balls of your feet a little bit, send the heels away, lengthening the legs, up into the balls of the feet, send the heels down, balls of the feet, send the heels down, and we go through into the plank, and we shoulder tap 5 times on each side. Hold there for 5, for 4, for 3, for 2, for 1. Drop the knees down, send the pelvis towards the heels into child's pose. Widen your fingertips out. Just press down with the hands a little bit and activate the inner arm line to the armpit here. Breathe into the backs of the ribs. And then curl up to kneeling. Roll your shoulders. And roll your shoulders the other way. And then come into a cross leg. Draw your fingertips out to the side. Sweeping your arm bones out. And then turn your palms so they face the ceiling. Spiral your arms so they face the back. Face the ceiling. Face the back. Face the ceiling. Face the back. That's it, good. And just turning gently. That's it. And then we're going to go all the way up, palms face the ceiling, draw the fingertips up towards each other and out again. Fingertips up towards each other and out again. The aim here is to be moving your shoulder blades rather than your shoulders up towards your ears. So really think about growing out of your neck with your skull and out of your spine with your neck. And then out we go, palms facing the floor. And then actually spiral backwards, so palms are facing back. And then I just want you to press back, just pulse it back. Think I'm widening my front of my body here. Maybe a little bit tingly. And then we're just going to just pulse back a little bit more. Press, press, press. A little bit more. Still again, feel like you're growing out of your spine. Dropping your shoulder blades down. That's it, good. And drop your arms down. Let your shoulders soften for a moment. Draw the fingertips up again, thumbs facing the ceiling. And then we're going to go back, thumbs facing the floor. And up. Again, remember to think about moving from the top here where the arm and the shoulder meets. And then come up to reach ahead of you and down. So all of it with intention, all of it with energetic tension, really creating strength within your arms as you do this. And then spiral your hands backwards and press back, opening and widening those collarbones, lengthening the front of your arms, keeping your neck nice and long here. If it's too much, pull back a little bit. And then drop down. Maybe close your eyes, maybe just breathe in into here, into the arms. Draw the fingertips up and then just do tiny weeny little circles. Just really lengthening away with the arms. Get that movement going. Soften the shoulders down. And then reverse. That's it, good. And reverse back again. And reverse to the that's it. Drop your arms down. Place your right hand on your left knee. Encourage the rotation of the rib cage again, pressing the backhand into the floor. Just turning around. Just feel like you're lengthening your shoulders away from the midline. And then keeping the space that you've created, come around towards your your right knee, left hand, right knee. Encourage that rib cage to spiral. And then let's rotate over towards your left side again. Really feel like you're growing upwards as well as rotating. I gaze over the knee rather than to this side this time. But just still really feel like you're sending that back shoulder behind you. And then reverse to your right side. And then just encourage that turn. Good. Alrighty then. Okay, so make sure you've got your ball by the side of you. Bring your feet in front, place your hands behind your thigh bones, and then grow up through your pelvis. Rolling backwards into just that point where that midpoint, where you find your hands coming around to the sides of your thighs. And then come up to sitting. Rolling back. Feel like you're opening up your sacrum here. Opening up the lower spine as you roll back. And then roll back up into seated. And again. So this roll down prep is really good to make you feel like you've got that hammock feeling. And then let's just float one leg up and the other leg up, shall we? Bring the arm bones in line with our legs. And just hold here for a time being. And drop yourself down, bring your knees out, drop your head back down in between. Curl up from the front of the spine. This time bring your arms in front of you, shoulder height as you roll back to midpoint. And then you roll back up to seated. We're going to do this 2 more times, rolling back. And seated. And rolling back. And seated. Really finding a smoothness in your roll. stay, come to the midline. Then we're going to lengthen the back arm forwards, eye gaze stays in front. Lengthen the front arm forwards, eye gaze stays in front, but your rib cage is turning. Your shoulder girdle is rotating. One more on each side. To the middle, roll up, knees out the side and butterfly, drop your head down. Just let your head, neck and shoulders soften here, let the spine open. Curl up from the front of the spine, arms in front. Roll back for 3 times. And come back up. Nice spine articulation work here. Think about keeping the shoulders nice and wide as you do this. That's it. And roll back to that midline. And then lengthen front arm forwards, back arm forwards, front arm forwards, back arm forwards, front arm forwards, back arm forwards. Come back and then send your knees apart, dropping down. Breathing into the back of the rib cage and soften. Breathing into the back of the rib cage and soften. Curling up from the front of the spine, arms in front, knees together. And we're going to do this one more time, rolling back. 2. And 3. And roll down midway. And lengthen forwards with the front and then the back, really turning your rib cage around. So good. Reach, 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 reach. And then come to the middle this time, roll all the way down. Bring your arm bones by your ears. And just lengthen your arms and your legs away from each other. Just move your fingers, lengthen them so they're really, really long. Flex your ankles, point your toes, flex your ankles, point your toes. Take the ball, pop it underneath your bottom. And then just find the space open up in your pelvis. We will start doing some pelvic clocks from 6 and 12. So belly button to pubic bone. Just let that motion of the pelvis happen as you are just gently rocking from one side, top to bottom. Just opening out the pelvis, which is a really great move when you've been sitting down all week. And then press into the front foot, front thigh bone lengthen, back foot, back thigh bone lengthen as you're tipping from 3 to 9. Just let the legs and the feet do the work and allow the pelvis just to follow. And just find that space. That's it, good. Just turning the pelvis, finding that rotation. And then just bring your knees towards you so your feet come off. Bring your fingertips up towards the ceiling if you'd like to. Draw the shins up towards the ceiling and then just press your thigh bones away from your body just a little bit so you can just notice the connection in the belly. And I want you to aim to keep your legs here rather than bringing them in, which can feel it has less connection on your abdominals. Lengthen the legs up. Flex the feet. Point the toes. Flex the feet. Point the toes. Flex the feet. Point the toes. And then circle the feet. You can circle the wrists as well whilst you're doing this. And then reverse that circle. So bring your legs and your arms back up. And then I want you to just draw a line away from you with your front leg and your back arm. And then bring that back up. Draw a line away from you as your leg and your arm go slightly towards the floor. And back. Notice what's happening with your pelvis. Is your pelvis tipping a little bit? If it is, are you able to think about pressing down or anchoring down, I should say, from the middle of your pelvis to give your pelvis a little bit more grounding on that middle point to just help with the tipping. Lengthen away. And back. Lengthen away. Good. Back. And away. And back. Spiral your legs out so you're externally rotated. Pull your knees apart and press away. Pull the knees apart. Press away. Pull the knees apart. Press away. Anchor down on your across your shoulders here. If you think about sending the top of your arm bone into your shoulder girdle a little bit, which gives you a little bit more support. And again, lengthen. Now we're going to integrate circles with frog's legs. So we're going to be bringing in the legs, we're going to lengthen them out to the side, we're going to draw them down to the bottom and then draw them back up. Open out, so bend in. So my wobbles took over me there. Draw down. Up we go. Bend in. Unfurl the legs. Circle down. Up we go. Bend in. Unfurl the legs, circle down, pull in, unfurl the legs, circle down, pull in. Now reverse, so press away, point the toes, circle up and in, press away, circle around and pull the knees apart, press away, circle around, knees apart. Press away, circle around. And one more. And drop your hands and your knees down. Take your ball away from your bottom, sink it down. And then come up onto your forearms. Bring it behind your back. And come into a chest lift position. So, interlace your hands behind your head, draw the elbows so you can see them. Press the back of the rib cage in towards the ball as you allow yourself a deeper connection with the front of the body. And then lengthen away. And then come back in. Lengthen away. Come back in. Lengthen away. Come back in. Lengthen away. Come back in. And lengthen away. Excuse me, whilst I just slightly change my ball position. And then let's come out all across the ball over towards the mat. Widen our elbows out wide. And then bring them back in. Press the head into the hands and the hands into the head. Elbow, rib cage goes into the ball as the elbows draw towards your thighs. And lengthen away again. As your knuckles graze the mat, open the arms out wide. Eye gaze comes from ceiling to thighs as you come back in. And again, over the ball. Open the elbows. Press into the hands. Eye gaze towards the mid-thigh again. And again. And then let's rotate the spine towards the front of the mat, keeping your feet and your pelvis on, and then come back to the middle. Reverse around. So here I want you to really feel the move on the ball, and I want you to imagine that you're sending the ball away from you. So you're sliding it with your shoulder blade from underneath your spine. You'll notice that this may help you go a little bit deeper in your turn, in your rotation. And again, one more on each side. And then come back, opening out over the ball again into the sagittal extension chest lift. So over we go again, 5 more. 3 more. 2 more. And 1 more. And slide the rib cage in, rotate towards the back of the mat, come back in, rotate towards the front of the mat, and back of the mat, and back, front of the mat. And we're going to do 5 more on each side, 2, 3, it's up to 10. That's it. 2 more on each side. 1 more on each side. And then come down. Lengthen the arms and the legs ahead of you. Just come over the ball. And just let your body lengthen from your pubic bone to your collarbones. Sweeping your arms around, nose to chest, press the back into the ball, and then come up to sitting. Okay, so turn your legs, so your left leg is in front, your right leg is behind, so you're in Z set. And just find the space in your pelvis. You want to think about externally rotating this back leg. Even though it looks like you're internally, the aim is to externally rotate this. So we're going to go into mermaid now. Draw the arms out to the side here. Drop the hand down, widen over. Give yourself a really lovely lengthen from the hip to the armpit to the elbow to the fingers. And come back over into the counter stretch. And again, dropping over. Keeping that shoulder away from the ear, bending the elbow where necessary. And come over toward the other side. Over towards your left side, drawing over. Reach, 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 reach. So you rotate. Place your hands wide now and encourage that rotation with the rib cage. Good. And then you just drop your head and your rib cage goes into flexion as you drop your eye gaze towards your pelvis. And then eye gaze travels along as you come forward into extension. Press through, eye gaze down. And up and lengthen. Eye gaze comes down towards the pelvis and travels along. Good. One more time. Into extension, then place the weight, bring the back hand in, place the weight into the back hand, draw the front arm up. Place your fingertips in an imaginary keyhole and then just start to turn your rib cage, keeping your shoulder away from your ear. Sweeping up and open, over towards the other side. Then come down onto your left hand, sweep your right hand around, roll onto your shins, opening up your hips. Calm down, sinking. And sweep around, opening out, lengthening the thigh bone, the hip flexor, and again. Reach, 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 reach. Sit down, widen, and then unravel the legs. Change to the other side. Okay, so again, find the space in your pelvis, recalibrate. There's going to be different to where you originally sit. And then again, just think about rotating this thigh bone outwards. You can always stroke it away from the middle of the body. Arms out. And drop down towards your right, over, micro bend your elbow to keep your ear away from your shoulder, drop down, over we go. And again, over towards your right. Sweeping over towards your left. And over towards your right. That's it. Reach, 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 reach. Turn. Place your heel of your hand down and widen. Turn your rib cage around. Encourage that rotation to happen. Press into your hands. Eye gaze goes along the floor. Eye gaze travels along towards the pelvis and then along the mat, opening up wide. And again. Along and open. And again down. That's it. One more time. Rocking backwards. Rocking forwards. Bring your hands in line with your pelvis. Reach along with the hands. Turn, 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 turn. Peek underneath. Sweeping the hand over and finding the space in that counter stretch. Drop the right hand down, sweep the left hand around, roll onto your shins, open up. Drop your pelvis down. Good. Sweep around, opening up. Sink the pelvis down. And again, opening up. Sink down. Bring your knees together and roll onto your shins. Tuck your toes underneath. Sink your bottom towards your heels. Press the heels of the hands into the mat. And then I want you to just roll onto the balls of your feet and then come up to a balance. Sending your heels down and then maybe coming up into a more seated position of a balance. Playing with the strength of your feet or the malleability of your feet. Sinking your big toe joints down if you're rolling onto the outside edges of the foot, and then looking at your outside edges of the foot if you're rolling inward. Rolling inwards a lot. And we're going to come into the squat. We're going to sink down here. And we're going to stay here for a moment, holding, if you will hold our arms up if we'd like to, or just bringing your hands in between your thighs, or just having a bit of a play with maybe bringing your bottom up a little bit, bending your knees, just noticing what your body is currently able to do at this present time, and what needs a little bit of work, what needs a little bit of love. And maybe just move and sway from one side to another. Finding your rhythm, finding the space in your feet, in your pelvis, in your shoulders, in your spine. Stay here for a moment. And then drop the hands down, lengthen the legs. Step the feet together, or to hip joint width apart, I should say. Bend the knees, lengthen the legs. Bend the knees, lengthen the legs. Bend the knees, drawing the fingertips up the wall into a squat, ski squat. Drop the hands down, lengthen the legs. Bend the knees, lengthen the legs. We're going to repeat that 2 more times. Bend the knees, lengthen the legs. Bend the knees, draw the fingertips up the wall, find the space and the width in your hips and turning your rib cage wide at the back of the neck. Drop down, lengthen the legs. Bend the knees, lengthen the legs, bend the knees, lengthen the legs, bend the knees, and draw the fingertips up the wall, widen the shoulders, widen the pelvis, sink, hold for 5, for 4, for 3, for 2, for 1. Drop the hands down, lengthen the legs, find the feet. Find the insteps, find the inner thighs as you pull up from the front of the spine to standing. And slowly let your head come on top of your shoulders. Let your shoulders just soften away. And on cue, that is our Saturday session.